Just a couple things I realized I skipped over on the 310SG, so I want to add them in here in the second part. So we've got a outside air intake for cab air. So again, this is a pressurized cab. We've got a mix of outside and inside air coming in to the air box. So that comes in through the back of the console there and down into the air handling unit. Then the other thing I want to talk about, I realized I mentioned while we were looking at the controls that the air conditioning switch, the control switch for the AC, has three positions. It has an off position where you'd only have heat. You just use your water valve to control the heat, and then you still have a fan control. Then you have an on position where you have heat, or sorry, where you have air conditioning to the floor vents and the side pod vents. And then you have a defrost position as your third switch position. And you might be wondering, why do I need the air conditioning on to have defrost? Or why can't I have defrost without having gone through the position where we turn the air conditioning on? And that's pretty common in all mobile AC and automotive, that when your defrost system is on, even though it might be winter and the window's fogging up, you want your air conditioning compressor to be running, and you want some cooling effect in the evaporator, because the evaporator not only acts to cool the air that's traveling through the system, but also as the air comes in there with any moisture in it, the evaporator, the coldness of the evaporator is going to collect the moisture as well. It's going to be basically the frost you might see occurring on an evaporator. Well, what's making it frost up is the moisture from the air. So in doing that, it dehumidifies the system. So as the defrost is working, your heater core will have heat in it. It'll be hot water, hot coolant from the engine circulating through the heater core. But the defroster will be cold, so the air is kind of going cold and then hot, and then coming out here, not only hot air will be blowing on the windshield, but hot dry air. So we get a dehumidification of the air when we've got the AC on. So we kind of got the heat and the AC running together when the defrost is functioning. And then where that moisture eventually goes, as the expansion valve cycles the open and close and regulates the flow through the evaporator, or if the operator decides to turn the system off, or the freeze switch, the thermostatic switch decides to cut out the compressor, well, then that frost or moisture that's sticking to the evaporator will start to melt. And that's where a drain pan and a cab drain hose are going to become very important. So the moisture has to be able to drain out of the cab onto the ground. So that's how you get some dehumidification in the defrost function.